My coverage of CES 2024 is brought to you by Cooler Master, Kioxia, Asus, and Gigabyte. I'm at LG now. They make gaming monitors. I mean, they make lots of other stuff besides gaming monitors. They make all kinds of displays. They make laptops like the LG Gram. We're mostly going to focus on their new Ultragear Gaming Monitors today. They have two new ones that are similar to their 45-inch OLED that we showed off last year. And they have one really cool new one that has some special features I think you guys will like. So let's check it out. LG is actually at the Win this year, which is a little bit different. Well, they actually do still have space over at the main convention center, but they're showing off their Ultragear displays here, which I kind of appreciate because it's a lot quieter in this room than on the CES convention floor. But here are the two new ones. If you guys watched any of my coverage last year of the 45-inch curved OLED panel that LG made, they made the panel that was in the Corsair Xeneon Flex, and then of course they also came out with their own fixed 800R curved variant of that monitor. They're coming out with two new ones. These are going to be less expensive. I don't know how much less expensive, but the 45-inch was $1,700 MSRP, so these should be less than that. They are high-end OLED curved panels with really good specs, 3440 by 1440, 21 by 9 aspect ratio. The one on the right here is a 34-inch, that's the 34GS95QE. And the one on the left is the 39-inch, the 39GS95QE. Other than the sizes, they pretty much have the identical specs to the 45-inch one that I showed you guys last year. 800R curved, 3440 by 1440. They're OLED panels, so you get all of the pixel response time, all of the true black color reproduction, excellent HDR support. The actual rating is VESA Display HDR True Black 400. They're going to cover 98.5% of the DCI P3 color gamut. So while they're not right up there with your top-end production panels, they are very good for crossover use, both for gaming and for getting work done. 240 hertz refresh rate. Did I mention that yet? That's pretty huge. And they are, of course, G-Sync compatible. They will work with FreeSync as well, too, so you can get all of your variable refresh rate goodness while you're playing your games. HDMI 2.1, they've actually got two of those, a couple DisplayPort 1.4s, and they've also got a USB hub built in as well. They tell me the panels have undergone some refinements, although it seems like the specs have remained the same, but they have updated the monitor stand. You'll notice it's a bit more trim. The old stand had the legs that kind of went out on either side. They've managed to make that a bit smaller, so for people who are working with more limited desk space, you're not going to have the stand interfering with your keyboard. Look for these to launch pretty soon, actually. We're looking at January or February, so again, I can't confirm the price, but they should be less expensive than that 45-inch model. So if you were watching any of my content last year and you're like, man, that looks really cool, but I just can't quite swing it, maybe you'll have something a little bit more affordable and just slightly smaller coming soon. Here is LG's new flagship gaming monitor. It actually won a CES Innovation Award honoree, so that's pretty impressive. So clearly it's got a lot going on. This is the 32GS95UE. It is an OLED panel, of course, again, and they actually have it displayed side by side with another panel because this one's going at 240 hertz, but also has the dual mode. As they're showing down here, world's first certified dual mode OLED gaming monitor, because similar to the one I showed you guys at Asus, which I believe is using the same panel as this one, it can switch between 4K, 3840 by 2160, and full HD, that's 1920 by 1080, but 4K would be 240 hertz, Full HD up to 480 hertz. So if you're into high refresh rate gaming, if you play Twitch shooters, FPS games like that, or if you just really enjoy the fluidity that you can get with a really high refresh rate, even going beyond 240 hertz. Granted, 240 hertz, even if you're in the 144 hertz or 165 hertz range, you're just fine, but there absolutely is still a further upward range beyond those refresh rates. And in terms of getting the data from your game to your eyeballs as quickly as possible, it's just going to give you the ever so slight advantage when you're actually playing games. And it's not like using AI to cheat or anything like MSI. Now, along with that switchable feature to go from the 4K to full HD, I also appreciate that they've put a dedicated button. So just that single button will switch it from the 240 hertz 4K mode to the 480 hertz 1080 mode. So it makes it very easy to jump back and forth between those two. And lastly, they have integrated Pixel Sound, which is something that they have previously integrated into their TVs. Monitor speakers, they're often not that great. They're often perfectly adequate, but most people tend to upgrade or go with a headset or something like that. LG actually is using the pixels. It's vibrating the pixels. It's vibrating the panel, so you don't have speakers that are small and tinny coming out of the sides. The entire panel vibrates. I got a little demo test of this for myself. This was demoed for me. It's going to be picked up on my camera mic, so I'm not sure how much it's going to translate across, but you get much better bass, you get much better range of sound. I would also say it was crisper and absolutely didn't have quite the tinny feel of at least the speakers that they're comparing it to, which is a competitor's monitor. They didn't want me to tell you what that one is.
The sound is totally different compared to this.
Definitely a lot better bass. Insanely better bass.
Bass is great.
But this one has, you know, pretty standard monitor speaker sound, and I would say definitely the Pixel sound sounds a lot better. So if you don't have speakers yet for your system, I would say this is absolutely a perfectly adequate solution. And they also said that since this is a monitor, they think it's actually a better implementation than in the TVs, because with a monitor you're sitting much closer, so you're going to be able to hear that sound a lot better since it's basically right in front of your face. I decided to choose an additional item to show you guys here at the LG Suites at the Encore, and I wanted to go with these because they're new and they're also gaming oriented. This is the new LG Gram. The Gram series is celebrating its 10-year anniversary, so these new laptops are going to be available in the 16-inch variety that you see right here. So this one on the right is the 16Z90SP, 16-inch screen on this one, and of course laptops come with a variety of flavors, but it is going to be featuring Intel's latest Meteor Lake CPUs, Intel mobile CPUs. I'm happy to recommend, even though I haven't tried the Meteor Lakes yet, initial feedback is that they are quite good in terms of performance as well as efficiency. Your GPU, you're going to have a choice. You can possibly go with Intel Arc graphics, or you've got an NVIDIA RTX 3050 with 4 gigs of VRAM integrated. Granted, these are not the most powerful like mobile GPUs that are on the market, but we are talking about an extremely thin and light laptop because, of course, it's the LG Gram. And I just love that I can so easily pick it up with one hand and swing it around and show it to you guys because of its thinness and its lightness. And I would say also, given the finish on these, I mean, they're going with a nice, you know, professional black look. So whether you're buying this for like a casual gaming system or, you know, for actual work or something like that, it's going to fit in a professional environment. It's not going to have a bunch of bells and whistles and silly things that says, I'm a gamer and I have RGB everywhere. Not that I'm hating on RGB or anything, I'm just saying it's situational. The 16-inch is going to be available with an IPS display that can go up to 165 Hertz. There's also an OLED display option, and of course you're going to get G-Sync support if you go with the RTX 3050 version. And then you've got the 17-inch version, the 17Z90SP. This one is just going to be available with the IPS display. Also notable, these are 16:10 aspect ratio, which is becoming more and more popular. I feel like gives you a little bit more vertical screen space. So for laptops, that's really becoming the trend. Again, this one with the IPS display goes up to 144 Hertz, and it's just ever so slightly larger than the 16-inch version. In terms of launch date, we don't have a fixed date, but we're looking at February, possibly late February for these models to launch. And of course, the price range is going to vary based on how they're kitted out in terms of the CPU and graphics. But it should be starting at about $1,700 for the 16-inch model, ranging up to the $2,200 to $2,500 range if you kit them out entirely and go with the highest end hardware available. The final product I wanted to show you guys real quick is this one right here, also part of the Gram series. This is the Gram Pro 2-in-1. This one's going to be available either with the 16-inch OLED or a 16-inch LCD. The OLED again goes up to 120 Hertz and the LCD goes to 144 Hertz. Actually, I need to correct myself. That is the same range for the OLED options on this one. 120 Hertz for the OLED, 144 Hertz for the LCD option. This one's still going to have a lot of the same core specs. Meteor Lake in terms of the CPU, Intel Arc graphics, dual Gen 4 NVMe SSDs, and of course this one has the pen input too. So you can write directly on the screen, and you can do this. Flip it all the way around, and now you're using it in tablet mode. So there you go, demonstrating the pen feature on this LG Gram Pro 2-in-1. I imagine professionals will use it for slightly more professional activities than I have. And you know, one other cool thing is this little touch pen. It just sort of goes like that. Magnetically attach it to the side, and that recharges it too. I could also talk about their existing Grams. These have also been updated with touchscreens, but I'm running out of time, so I gotta end it there. That's gonna wrap it up for my coverage here at the LG Suites. So on behalf of myself and Chloe the robot behind me. Thank you very much for watching my coverage. A big thank you to my sponsors for CES 2024, Asus Gigabyte Kioxia and Cooler Master. I am almost done with my coverage. I do have at least one more video for you guys, so hit the thumbs up button. Check out the playlist if you want to see all the videos. Check out my store. We'll see you all in the next video. Thank you, sorry.